Hi there, I am the book lady. I am so glad you came by today because I brought two really interesting books. They're very different books. One I think is hilarious. You're going to laugh out loud. It's funny. And the other book makes us think. You like to think? Yeah, this will make you think. And you know, I'm going to tell you something funny about this first book. It's called The Path by Bob Staake. And I read it to my granddaughter. And initially, when I just held the book up like this, she said, "No, I don't want to read that book." I think she didn't like this picture. I don't know. But once we started to read the book, she really got into it. And she was very surprised at the end. So I think you're going to like the book, The Path. And you know, I went to the library and got these. You can do that too. We'll talk about that later, okay? This one, look at this. It's called Chicken Talk. Chicken Talk. It's funny. Patricia MacLachlan, and it's just funny, and it made me laugh. And if I'd had a chicken, I would have brought it. But I didn't have a chicken, so I couldn't bring my chicken. We'll read that last. Okay. Let's read The Path. And by the way, if you're new to the book lady, I bring two books, I read them to you, and then we talk about them. Yeah. All right, here we go with The Path. You will walk along a well-worn path that many others have taken before you. Okay. Often the path will be easy, you know, flat, simple. It may take you over gentle, grassy hills, shaded by towering trees that sway in the breeze. Oh, that would be nice. The path might weave through valleys of wildflowers bathed in the warm sunlight. Oh, that looks fun. But sometimes it will become bumpy and difficult. It may even be blocked by obstacles that you will need to overcome. And do you see? That little girl has come up upon an obstacle. That means something that has gotten in the way. Well, my granddaughter said that she would go over the big boulder. It was simple. You just climb over it. I said, well, I'd just walk around it. Isn't that interesting? That we would overcome our obstacles different ways. It may meander through dark, scary forests, shadowed in mystery and easy to become lost. But you won't be lost if you just stay on the path. The path will zig and zag up steep and challenging hills that appear impossible to climb. Then, over violent, raging rivers, both terrifying and dangerous. And we talked about this. Look at that log across there. So to get to the other side, you have to go across that log. Well, I would not do it that way. I'm afraid of heights, and that would scare me. So I would lie down on my stomach and sort of scoot across the log. What do you think about that? When the path becomes muddy alongside a pond or through a soggy swamp, walking may be hard and your journey may slow. Sometimes when we're on a path, things happen and we can't be going real fast. And when it leads into a sunless, chilly cave, it may seem as if the path will simply end. Uh-oh. It won't. The path will surprise you. Ooh. As it splits into two different directions. And do you see that one going that way and that one going that way? That's called a fork in the road. And many times in our lives, we come to a fork in the road. Which way should I go? How will you know which way to go? See, there she is, right in the fork in the road. Ooh. You will know. You will know because those two choices are not the only possibilities. You will know because, like others who have walked the path before you, you too will create your own path. And look at that. And when I read this to my granddaughter, before we turned the page, she said, well, I think I might go on this one. Oh, I don't know, but maybe this one. And she's just, oh, which one, which one? And she couldn't believe it. That's right. I can forge my own path. And this book is very much about life. Because, you know, life is like a journey. It's like a trip. And how do we take that trip? We take it on a path. And sometimes, oh, it's easy. It's flat. It's not too hot. It's not too cold. It's just life is easy. But sometimes life's not quite as easy. Maybe you get sick. Maybe someone you love dies. Maybe you have to move from the home you love. There are all kinds of things that we don't like, but they're in our path. And we have to keep on going. And sometimes going can be kind of tough. But the important thing is that you keep on going. Yeah, don't give up, even when things are very dangerous and scary. You keep going. But you don't have to go fast. Like I said, I would just sort of scoosh across. I'd kind of crawl. And when there are swamps or mud that's just slowing you down, don't get upset about it. You look and say, oh, this is a mess. And then you get through it. And once you're through it, you're like, whew, that was tough, but I got through it. And then don't you love, oh, your path just keeps going and you get older and smarter and you learn some things, you're wiser. Yeah. And then the path surprises you. Whoa. See? I mean, as you get to be older and you're an adult, it might be, should I take this job or should I take this job? Well, this job I'm going to move far away, but this job I'm going to work nights. These are the things that make life very interesting. And some people get very upset about them and anxious. No, it's just called a fork in the road. There's no bad way. But I love the ending. When, what does she do? She creates her own path. How do you like that? It's important to understand the path we're on in life. And the best thing you can do is try to enjoy it. Smile and just try to enjoy it. It isn't all fun. It isn't all easy. And sometime down the road, you might decide to just create your own path. I like this book. But now, we're going to have some fun. This is crazy stuff. This is chicken talk. Okay, we got a lot of names and people and characters in this. Farmer Otis and his wife Abby loved their chickens. Their children, Willie and Belle, loved them too. And boy, these people got some chickens, let me tell you. All in all, there were 11 hens. Whoa. Let's see if we can find them. Oh, there's Beatrix. They call her Trixie. Bitsy, Grace, and Boo. And the 7 white feathered Joyces, named after Abby's mother, Joyce, who loved white chickens. Do you know they're all named Joyce? There's Joyce, and there's another Joyce, and that's Joyce. Oh, hi, Joyce. And that Joyce looks tired. And then there's that Joyce. There was one colorful rooster named Pedro who protected his hens from foxes and hawks and weasels. Yes, Pedro the rooster was kind of like the watch rooster, the watchdog. Abby made them salads with fresh lettuce and arugula. Arugula is kind of a curly, peppery tasting, like lettuce. From her garden, she collected their eggs in the hen house. Oh, thank you, girls, she said, as she put the eggs in her basket to sell to the neighbors. Willie and Belle wrote each hen's name on her eggs. Trixie, Bitsy, Boo, Grace, and the 7 Joyces. The neighbors liked that. They had their favorite hens. Willie and Belle read books under the big tree. The chickens peered and pecked at the books and cocked their heads at Willie and Belle when they told their stories. Every day, Willie let the chickens out of their big pen so they could scratch in the dirt for bugs and worms. They loved being out and about. While Pedro lurked in the yard, watching for danger, the hens sometimes sat on the porch chairs and looked out over the meadow like elegant ladies. Do you love look at these. Look at those gals. They're sitting on the porch. They have jumped up onto the chairs. I don't know. That cracks me up. One morning, Willie had a great shock. Belle! Come quickly! Well, Belle ran from the garden. Willie pointed. Did you write that? Belle looked. She shook her head. In the dirt, they read a message. No more arugula. Maybe Mama wrote it. Or Papa. Willie shook his head. They're at the market, and only the chickens eat arugula. Otis and Abby drove into the driveway and walked up the hill with shopping bags. Willie pointed to the words scratched in the dirt. Trixie strutted over and looked at Otis and Abby with her bright, beady eyes. Trixie wrote that sentence. Yes, said Abby. Don't tell anyone. They'll think we're nutty. Abby nodded. I thought Trixie liked arugula. When Abby went to collect eggs in the morning, she called, "Oh, no, another message." Otis, Willie, and Belle came running. The sentence read, "The fox is not intelligent." Do you know what intelligent means? Smart. Otis looked at Pedro. I heard a kerfluffle near the pen last night. Good job, Pedro. I heard you squawking and the flapping of wings. When I came out, the hens were safely in their hen house, and you looked very proud. Do you think there will be more chicken talk? Asked Abby. Yes, said Otis. Yes, said Belle. And guess what? There was. Willie and Belle found more chicken talk the next day under the tree. More stories about brave chickens. That's Boo, said Willie. She always has her beak in a book. They learned their letters from looking at our stories, said Belle. Wow. Soon the secret came out. See, Trip, the mailman, found a sentence in the dirt by the mailbox. You drive too fast. Cheerful chickens cross this road. Did you write that, Otis? Asked Trip. Nope. Bitsy did. She's bossy. Well, sounds almost poetic, said Trip. Too poetic for a chicken. No one in town will believe that your chickens can write. I don't believe it myself. And the townspeople didn't believe it. How could a chicken write? Why would a chicken write? No other chickens in town wrote messages in the dirt. Well, come see for yourself, Trip. Put up your tent and spend the night. Well, Trip brought his small brown tent and sleeping bag and pillow. He set up near the chicken yard. Everyone went to sleep. There was a full moon. Early in the morning, while Trip was still sleeping, Willie let the chickens out of their pen. In the kitchen, Otis smiled as he drank his coffee, and soon it happened. Outside, there was a loud howl from Trip. Otis opened the kitchen door and looked out. Trip clutched his pillow. His tent had collapsed on one side, and he pointed to the message in the dirt. You snore, and there is a snake in your tent. A small snake slithered off into the bushes. It's true, said Trip, trying to catch his breath. Who wrote that? Pedro walked up to them, his eyes shining. I'd say Pedro, said Otis. And you, said Willie. Now everyone in town knew about the chicken talk. Being the mailman, Trip saw everyone, and he told them how he was saved by chicken talk. Everyone in town bought more eggs and wanted to know the chicken talk of the day. And there was lots of chicken talk. Too hot. Can we have a fan? Much too much rain. We need an umbrella. There are new chicks. Come and see. Has Grace written anything? Asked Abby one day. Oh, Grace is shy. Maybe she doesn't have anything to say, said Otis. Grace was Otis's favorite hen. She had golden feathers lined in black. Sometimes the sunlight made her feathers gleam like jewels. She is quiet. Oh, I like the quiet. But it wasn't quiet for long. On Sunday morning, early, there were 7 messages. Too many Joyces. I'm the real Joyce. No, I'm the real Joyce. I'm not Joyce. And not me. I've never been a Joyce. I'll never be a Joyce. No more Joyces. What do we do? Said Abby. Nothing, said Otis. They'll tell us. And they did. Names were found all over the dirt yard. Willie and Belle discovered them in the driveway and in the pen and by the barn. Josie, Louisa May Alcott, the real Joy, Jane, Mickey, Emily Dickinson, Belinda. Trip, again, found one name in the dirt by the mailbox. Who's Belinda? He called. Well, one of the Joyces, new name, said Otis. And then it was quiet. Peaceful, said Otis. Papa, said Willie. What? We'll never tell all the white-feathered Joyces apart, no matter what they've named themselves. Otis smiled. I know, and believe me, they'll tell us. More chicken talk? Said Belle. And in front of them, scratched in the dirt, were 2 short sentences. We love you. Good night. Grace came over to look at them all. Grace, whispered Otis. It was you. Grace, said Abby. Grace, said Willie and Belle together. That was the kind of chicken talk they loved. Did you like that book? Isn't that a sweet book? It's funny, though. And some of the pictures, oh, I just love them. I think because those chickens were scratching their messages, or that's what we think, all of a sudden, all the townspeople, everybody wanted their eggs because these were becoming famous chickens. And Mr. Tripp, remember, he's the postman. I think that's a beautiful picture. Isn't that nice? There's the full moon. They let those chickens out. I just think that's a very calming picture. And then, you snore. And there is a snake in your tent. Whoa, that would scare me. Look at him. His tent's fallen down. But who's there? Pedro the rooster. I think it's a fun book. I hope that you will go to the library and look for Chicken Talk, because you'll have a lot of fun reading it and reading the different messages that these chickens make. And I think Pedro, look at him. Look, he's so proud of himself because he takes care of all these hens. See, the hens are the female chickens. And they're the ones who lay the eggs, and, they're very important. So Pedro's got a big job. He's got to take care of all those hens. And then I like this one because there is Belle and Willie, and they're writing the names on the eggs. And of course, at this point, a lot of them say Joyce, Joyce, Joyce. I knew a woman once who had a dog, and let's say she named her dog Spot. When Spot died, she got another dog, and she named it Spot. And when Spot died, she got another dog, and she named the dog Spot. Because sometimes, have you ever noticed that if there's more than one child in your home, your mom will call you by the wrong name? I had 5 children, and I'd run through all of them. You're not thinking and you're speaking quickly, and you call the one kid the other kid's name. Well, by naming her dogs all Spot, she never messed that up, did she? She'd say, "Here, Spot." And it was always Spot. Well, when you have 7 white chickens and you really can't tell them apart, they decided they'd just name them all Joyce. Well, those chickens said, "I don't think so. We're going to have our own name." And I just think it's a fun story, and it's clever, and I think the pictures go very well with the story. And do you notice that when they write, some of their letters, like that letter there, is an E, but it's backwards. Yeah, some of the letters are backwards. And when you're reading this, you'll notice that. If you know your letters already, you'll notice that some of the letters aren't exactly perfect. So we have the path. And the path is kind of your journey of life. You know, when you start out as a baby, you don't know your letters. Well, you don't even know how to drink out of a cup. But as you follow along your path, you learn to drink from a cup, you learn to walk, next thing you know, you're going to learn to run, and that's life. And you try to make it as interesting and pleasant as possible, because you're going to have some times when it's not very pleasant. But just remember, that's not the end. It's not the end. You know, I have a saying I like, and it's, in the end, everything will work out okay. And if things aren't okay, it's not the end. How about that? Oh, I hope that you will go to the library and just, even if you don't check any books out, just look at all the books. Oh, there's so many. And they're about so many different things, and all the different pictures in the books, and great stories and characters. Oh, I just get so excited when I talk about books. And I have such a wonderful time at the library. And I want to see you someday at the library. Now, if you want to watch The Book Lady, you can also go on YouTube. And then you can watch it whenever you want. And until next time, my friends, I am the Book Lady. Bye-bye.